I want you to turn your attention very briefly to the 37th chapter of Genesis. It reads, "So Joseph went after his brothers and found them near Dothan. But they saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. Here comes that dreamer, they said to each other. Come now, let's kill him and throw him into one of the cisterns and say that a ferocious animal has devoured him." May God add a blessing to the reading of his word. Early this morning before dawn, I did what I often do when I come to Memphis. I went out to the Lorraine Motel. As a youngster, I joined SCLC, Operation Breadbasket. I had been a boy preacher in the Church of God in Christ, and my mother was concerned when I was 12 that I was getting too involved in looking at activism and Adam Clayton Powell and others. She took me to my bishop, Bishop F.D. Washington, who said, I know what to do with him, and he brought me to Reverend William Jones, who led Dr. King's organization in New York, and Reverend Jesse Jackson. And at 13, the year Dr. King died, I was 13 years old, I became youth director of the chapter in New York. So it was my growing up in the King movement in the North after his death that makes me come to the Lorraine Hotel and look at the spot that Dr. King died. This morning I took my youngest daughter Ashley with me, and in all of the ice I told the story of how Dr. King had came to Memphis to fight for garbage workers, city employees that had no safety. 2 had been killed with a malfunction. And here we are, Ashley, 55 years later, looking at the balcony where Martin Luther King shed his blood for city workers, for black city workers, to be able to work in the police department, work in sanitation. And the reason why, Mr. and Mrs. Wells, what happened to Tyre is so personal to me is that 5 black men that wouldn't have had a job in the police department would not ever be thought of to be in an elite squad. In the city that Dr. King lost his life, not far away from that balcony, you beat a brother to death. There's nothing more insulting and offensive to those of us that fight to open doors, that you walk through those doors and act like the folks we had to fight for to get you through them doors. You didn't get on the police department by yourself. The police chief didn't get there by herself. People had to march and go to jail, and some lost their lives to open the doors for you. And how dare you act like that sacrifice was enough for nothing? You ain't in no New England state, you in Tennessee. Where we had to fight for you. And you take that position and do what we saw, and then some of y'all got all this mess on social media. Let me tell you something. I don't know what you writing on social media. I know what I saw on the tape. And the tape speaks for itself. They never asked this man for his license. Never asked for the car registration. Snatched him out of the car and began beating him. Nobody mentioned nothing about no girlfriend. Nobody mentioned nothing about no man. They started beating an unarmed man. The city that they slayed the dreamer. What has happened to the dream? In the city where the dreamer laid down and shed his blood, you have the unmitigated gall to beat your brother, chase him down and beat him some more, call for backup, and they take 20 minutes. And you watch him, and you are too busy talking among each other. No empathy, no concern. If you read the story of Joseph, when his brothers threw him in the pit, nobody came to help him, like nobody came to help Tyre. Waiting on ambulance service that didn't show up until it's too late. What will happen to his dream? Well, we'll just tell them something else happened, but we are going to throw him in the pit. But I come to Memphis today to tell you the same mistake Joseph's brothers made is a mistake you made. You thought you threw Joseph in a pit. You thought you threw Dr. King's dream in a pit. But every time you throw something in a pit, God takes the pit and raises it up and changes the whole world. Let me be clear. We understand that there are concerns about public safety. We understand that there's needs to deal with crime. But you don't fight crime by becoming criminals yourself. You don't stand up to thugs in the street becoming thugs yourself. You don't fight gangs by becoming 5 armed men against an unarmed man. That ain't the police, that's punks. Man said, I didn't do nothing. You kept on going anyhow. Why do they go ahead? Because they feel that there is no accountability. They feel that we are going to get angry a day or two and then we're going on to something else. But some of us do this every day. Some of us believe in the dream has to come true. Some of us are going to fight until we make this legislation happen. I don't know when, I don't know how, but we won't stop until we hold you accountable and change this system. Why do we want to see the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act passed? Because then you have to think twice before you beat Tyre Nichols. You think twice before you shoot at someone unarmed. You think twice before you chokehold Eric Garner. You think twice before you put your knee on Eric Garner's, on George Floyd's neck. Because if you don't have qualified immunity, your wife would be telling you before you leave home, behave yourself. Because we could lose the house. We could lose the car. Behave yourself. Because our savings can be gone. You want to be a tough guy? Well, let's get rid of qualified immunity and see if you learn the same manners you have on the white side of town, you'll have some manners on the black side of town. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Reverend Al, you don't understand. How are they going to keep crime down in the black community and at the same time not be tough and rough? Well, they do it the same way they do it on the white side of Memphis, and they keep the crime down without being rough and tough. How do you have the same department that can keep crime down on one side of town without beating folk to death, but you can't do it on the other side of town? Unless you feel that you can get away with it there. I can't speak for everybody in Memphis. I can't speak for everybody gathering. But for me, I believe if that man had been white, you wouldn't have beat him like that night. Asking for nothing special. We're asking to be treated equal and to be treated fair. And just like they marched and boycotted and went to jail for 9 years from the 55 Montgomery bus boycott to the 64 Civil Rights Act, we're going to pay the same dues to get this George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. Reverend, how long? I don't know how long. They didn't know how long it would be when they boycotted in the 50s. It's not about a timetable. It's that we cannot continue to live under these double standards and under these conditions. We don't care how long, but I can tell you one thing, those of you that keep voting against that bill, we're going to vote against you. We got more numbers than the police union. I believe that God will do for us what we'll do for ourselves. And even in the pit, Joseph never lost his faith. Joseph could have gave up. Joseph could have gave out, but in the pit, he still believed in the God of his fathers. And even as I stand over the casket of this innocent young boy, this young man, 39 years old, with a 4-year-old son that his mother and father and his siblings have to raise, I believe that God will take him, Tyre, out of that pit and use him as a symbol for justice all over this country. I believe that babies unborn will know about Tyre Nichols because we won't let his memory die. We're going to change this country because we refuse to keep living under the threat of the cops and the robbers. What touched me, I was raised by a single mother. Daddy left when I was 10. Mama raised my sister and I on welfare and food stamps. What touched me is when I heard him calling for his mother. Just like George Floyd is calling for his mother. Something you'd have to be a black man. That the only thing between you and disaster was your mother. To understand what calling for your mother means. Somewhere deep in my heart, I understood Tyre. Because the only thing that kept the kids from laughing at my banana sandwiches in school, because she couldn't afford enough to put meat there, but mama would make it all right for me. And he knew if he could just get mother, that they would quit beating him and quit stomping on him. All he wanted to do was get home. Now home, Reverend Jamal Bryant, home is not just a place. Home is not just a physical location. Home is where you are at peace. Home is where you don't have to keep your dukes up. Home is where you're not vulnerable. Home is where everything is all right. He said, all I want to do is get home. I come to Memphis to say the reason I keep going is all I'm trying to do is get home. I want to get where they can't treat me with a double standard. I'm trying to get home. I want to get where they can't call me names no more. I want to get home. I want to get where they can't shoot and ask questions later. I'm trying to get home. Every black in America stands up every day trying to get home. Last night, we went to Mason Temple, Church of God in Christ. And the Wells family and Tyre's sisters and brothers stood there where Martin Luther King gave his last speech. They didn't know that night it was his speech for the last time. I was told by those that worked with King that raised me, and I recounted it with Mrs. King. I worked very closely with Martin III. We're going back to Washington August 26th. During his father's March 60th anniversary, we're going to deal with Tyre and the rest of these issues. And they were told me that that day, April 3rd, 1968, it was raining and storming. Dr. King said he didn't even feel like going to the rally. He had come to Memphis a week before to lead a march for the sanitation workers. That's right. And some provocateurs got at the end of the march. You know, there's still some around now that's blacker than anybody else, that's more active than anybody else, that's more street than anybody else. They started a riot at the end of the march. And the press said, oh, Dr. King's day is over. Nonviolence is dead. So he came back to prove that he could march. If it wasn't for so-called militants, Dr. King would have never faced what he faced. That's why all of these people talking bad that you and I don't know, don't have no background on, be careful of who jumps in movements. Because they set serious folk up. Dr. King came back and that day was raining And he said to Dr. Ralph Abernathy, Ralph, you go speak. I don't feel like going tonight. And they went on to the church. And when they got there, the church was full in a storm. Dr. Abernathy went into the payphone and he called back to the Lorraine Motel, a black-owned motel. Who told him to put his call through the room 306. Dr. King picked up the phone. He said, Martin, you need to come. There are thousands here. They didn't come to see me. Dr. King got in the car by himself and rode over to Mason Temple, and he started speaking that night, and something came over him. He said that I don't fear any man. He said, God has allowed me to go to the mountaintop, and I've seen the promised land. And that's the last speech he gave right here in Memphis when he went to the mountaintop. I believe when he looked over, he could see a Barack Obama become president. I believe when he went to the mountaintop, he could look over and see a Kamala Harris sitting as vice president. I believe when he looked over from the mountaintop, he saw black police chiefs. He didn't expect you to disgrace him. He expected you to bring us on to the promised land. That's why I'm still marching. Yes, I got books out. Yes, I got a TV show, but I'm a mountain climber. I'm not going to stop till I get to the top of the mountain. You can call me names on right-wing television. I'm a mountain climber. I expect stumbles to come my way. I'm a mountain climber. You can disgrace me. You can discredit me, but I'm going to keep on climbing. I'm going to climb until Tyre Nichols get justice. I'm going to climb until Eric Gardner gets justice. I'm going to climb until we change the laws. We're mountain climbers. We're not day traders. We're mountain climbers. And if God be for us, it's more than the whole world against us. He walks with me. He talks with me. He tells me that I'm his own. He's been food when I was hungry, water when I was thirsty. He's my rock. He's my rock. He's my rock. My sword and shield. My wheel in the middle of the wheel. Yeah.